All right, folks, today I've got Truckin' by the Grateful Dead. It starts out with this little riff. We got a little honky-tonk thing on the E there. So what that was 4 on the G string and 3 on the B string. And those are triplets, so it's like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. That'd be one measure of it, so we do 2 measures of it. That's the Bob Weir part. So we got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Here we have that honky tonk. We have open and 2. Bum ba bee da bum ba bee da bum ba bee da bum ba bee da. Okay, so it's like 4 bars of that till we get into the chorus. Now Jerry Garcia's got a lead after the. He comes in and he goes. So he hammers in the open to 2 on the D string. So boom, bum, bum, and then da 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 da. He does a hammer, but he starts getting into the triplet feel. So it's 2 sets of triplets there. 1 and a 2 and then he goes down the E minor pentatonic with flat 5th scale. So we got the D string, 2 and 1 and open on the A, 3 open, and then the new measure starts with another E there. So. So that's a little intro lead Jerry Garcia solo. So that was 2 bends on the 15 on the 2nd string, and then 12 on the B, 14, 12, with a little bend on that 12 to the root note, the E there, 14 of the D string. So, and then we go little bend on that 12 again to the 14 and back. And that was a pull off here on the D string to the A string. We got 14, 12 to 14. Hammer on, D string, 12 to 14. Now here we're going to have a unison bend, 12 on the 2nd string, 14 on the G. Kind of hit the 12 again on the 2nd. And then we hit the bend on the 14 and then bend it down to the 12. So, and then we have a. So we wait a quick second on the new measure. We have 14, 14. So 14, 14, 12, 14, 12. Back to that D string and back. So it ends with 14, 12 in the D, 14, 13, 12, slide to the 11. And that 11 is the major third of the E chord. So it makes a nice change to the E chord there. So once again, the Jerry part coming in from the intro. We got. Okay, and then the first chorus starts. Truckin'. Okay, so your first little fill there is going to be like kind of coming from somewhere near the 5 into the 14 of the 2nd string, and then 12, 14, 12 on the 1st string. The next one is 21st fret. We got to bend. And then we have a 19th fret downward bend to the 17th. The chorus itself would be. So we got the A honky tonk, and you can kind of slide in from that 4th fret. Up to the B, 7th fret. Back to A. Now we have the riff that sets up the first verse. So it's open, open, open. So 3 opens. So it's 2 opens and then like a hammer on 0, 3, 4 thing. 2 on the D string there. Hit it again. 5, 4, 2 on the A. So that's the riff that goes underneath the first verse. Now the verses could also be like, so what we do is we have like an E chord there, and we come into the A notes, the D, G, and B strings, the twos, and we kind of hammer into the G and B strings into the first fret of the G string. That's one of those kind of standard, right? So you get a little bit of the 4 chord and back to your 1 chord. Same thing with the A, B. Got those 9s. So later on in the tab, I have just kind of a reminder. Okay, so let's go through our chorus one more time. 2, 3, and truckin'. A, B, A, and when you get back to that E, there's usually a different riff each time for like a new verse. So some of them will repeat, but a lot of them are very different. So it's very progressive the way it keeps moving along and changing things as it goes. So we got for the second verse riff, we got so O, 4, O, 2, O, hammer down to that root note of the E there in the D string. So that's how the second verse riffs play out, and then you're back in a chorus again. So that's third verse one is like a 2 open E's and then a 2-4-2 on the A. Open, open, and then the kind of typical 3-4-2. So they keep the groove, but they just change it a little bit enough to make it like where it doesn't have to repeat so much. Okay, now at the end of this one, we're going to get into the bridge. There's a little riff going into the A for the bridge. So we had open, 1 to 2 on the A string, D string open, 2 to open pull off, G back to A, and then at the very end of that measure you got a little bend on that 3, take you into A. Okay, so we got so it was like you had the sometimes the lights all shine. So it's like one measure of the honky tonk, and then A, G. See that 3 there? A, G, A, O3, O2, O2, A. Now this time we're gonna go to the D for 2 strums. A. Now we're going D chord, B chord to F sharp, back to B, back to F sharp, A. Okay, so that's Jerry's next lead. We wait till the second beat, and then we hit this 15th fret, bending up to the E. And we're going to go triplets after that. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a... There's 5 sets of them. That's not where the beat would be necessarily in that measure. It'd be like 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a... Now this last one's going to go a bend up and down and back up, and then we have another bend and then another down up. 2 more bends. Now this last measure is going to go... So bend up and then down to the 12, 14, 12. You got 14s back and forth, and then the 14, 12, 14. So 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a. Okay, then we're in the next verse with the What in the World Ever Became a Sweet Jane. We got some Jerry fills. We got, so that was 15 on the second string and bend the 17th fret of the first string. And then the second one goes. So that was just 2 bends on the 17, 17, 15, 2 17s on the second string. And then after the last line of the vocal, you got, so 12, 12, 15, 12 in the second, 15, 14, 12 to your root note there. And then the last one is, so we got one more at the end here, and it's bend on the 14 G string, 12 to 12, second to third strings. So once again, we got 1. Okay, then we're back into another chorus. We'll kind of skip that. Here's where in the tab I kind of show you that thing about. So see how having those chords, bigger chords with the changing chords and the little hammer on goes with the, and creates nice bigger textures because they're doing different things, occupying different space and stuff. Okay, then we get into another riff. We got a lead-in riff to the next verse. We got. So it's just open, open, 4, open, 2, open, and our typical hammer on to the root note. And this is the minor third to the major third that we're hammering all the time. So that's a cool effect, just like this when we do that thing down here. There's also a little riff that they do sometimes when they're on the E where he hammers in that open to 1. And that's the same stuff we're talking about where we got that's G to G sharp, that's G to G sharp. So it's a minor third to a major third, and it creates that bluesy effect. Our fourth verse riff, we're going to go back to an old riff. So open, open, hammer. And you could either kind of keep that 2 to hit the 5, 4, 2, or you could go to this 2 on the A string. See how they're kind of interchangeable there. Okay, then there's a fill there at the end of one of these previous sections where we got a. So you kind of slide in with the 16 and 15 on the G and B. But you keep hitting on the 16 on the G. So you got 1 and a 2 and a bound. Now we have fills on this next chorus. We got truckin'. So that's going to be 14 on the G to 15 on the B. Bend it up. And then we get to the A. You got 16 to 17. And then B, you got 18 to 19. Next fill is 17 on the B, 19 on the E. Bend it down to the 17. And then the end of that one, we got a little bit of it like 12 to 14 bend. And then wait a little bit, 14, 12, 12. Now we got another verse. And at the end of this verse, we're going to walk back to the bridge, but we're going to have a single note thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So chromatic up to the A from the E. So shining all the time. D. Now we go D chord, B, F sharp, A. So we fill a little time on that E now. And we're gonna have a chorus again. So yet again, another little variation on a theme here. To the the 2 of the A string, open, and then 4-2. So and then we're in like the last verse here. We go back to the old riff. Now there's one more little solo here at the end. It's like a okay, so we got a bunch of notes on this 12. Da 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 da. Now we start bringing in the 14th. This one goes 13, 12. And then we got so we had 2 12s and then a 14 bend on the little string. And then 1 12 and a 14. Bend it up and down. 12, 14, 12. Now this next time has one extra little note there. And then we're going to finish with. So we got, these are triplets too. A lot of triplets in this tune because of that swing feel. All right, Sugar Magnolia by the Grateful Dead. We're going to slide into this A chord, these 2s right here from these 1s below on the D, G, and B strings. Okay, so what we have there is some sliding. We hit that A bass in between, so sliding chord, bass, chord, A again, and then you kind of slide into that 4 from the 2, use your ring finger on the A string, 2 and 2 going down here, and that's like one of those kind of D with the F sharp bass kind of chords. You got 4, 2, and 3 on the same strings that you have those 2s on, so we got. You'll hit some basses in between and stuff, kind of just like kind of back and forth with these chords. And you can vary it and change it up a bit, you know. So one of the second half of this goes like bass to chord, and then so that's 2 4 2 on the D, 3 2 on the A to the A chord. And like I say, you can kind of mix these things up, but it's like. Now this one, you kind of get that pinky down here and do that all those 2s with the 5, and you bring that D with the F sharp bass in on that one. So it's kind of a D with the A bass in this case, because you can keep that A rocking, that A bass. So. Now you can also kind of come in from that A into that 4th fret, that C sharp. Do that 2 4 2, and then that 3 2 to the A. So you can mix those up, and it definitely live they would mix that up quite a bit, you know, over time. So let's try to play that together. A 1 2 3 4. And then you'll have like a tag on the end of that. And you can kind of play these endings like without that sliding up to the 4. Kind of focus on the chord more, and then just kind of do the end of that riff. Okay, then we're in the verse. We have. Okay, so we had the A, the riff to the D to A, and then slide it again into A, and then G, E to the A, and then we go to this other A on the 5th fret. C sharp minor right there, F sharp minor over here, so we got G, E to A, C sharp minor, F sharp minor, and then E, D, back to A. And that's a little tag that comes at the end of that. Okay, then we're into the chorus. We got tag. Okay, so that chorus starts with the D chord. You got your 5, 7, 7s, right? You got. And this is part of a G chord. That's 9, 7, and 8 on the D, G, and B strings. So we got. So we have a hammer on, 7 to 9 on the A, and that's part of going into a D chord. We got these 7s down here. So A back to D, and then D again. Or you could have the hammers. So that was like hammering into D, G, D, D. We'd come up to this 11, 9, 9, which is part of an E chord. So E to the A, and then you got your tag there. So let's look at the chorus again. 2, 3, and. A to D, E down to A, and then your tag. Okay, then you got a little solo. You got so that's A to your kind of D with the A bass back to A. So then A, and then E. Back to A. You do that twice. And you got your tag. Okay, then we're in another verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, E to A, C sharp minor, F sharp minor, E, D back to A. Tag. Another verse. G. Okay, so that was 2 verses in a row. Each one has a tag, and then we have a new little thing. We have A, G, D to A. Now so that's 3 times of that. So that was A, G, D, A. Let's try that. 2, 3, and. Now this 4th time it's going to go A to E, and then G to D, and then we'll try to hammer that thing for that next D measure. Okay? So let's try that. A to E, G to D, hammer into that 3rd. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Then we got that tag. Now we have our chorus again off that D chord. 2, 3, 4. So that was the tag after the chorus. Now we're going to have A with that D thing. We're going to go. It's going to do that twice. You could have your sliding chords too. Now we're we're gonna do a B here, and you could do this B where you hammer into that 6 on that too, because we got those 4s. Hammering into that 6 is also an option. So we got B. The lyrics are sometime when the night is dying and all that. So we got take me out and I want you. Okay, so what we have is B and then E back to B. 2, 3, and we go to F sharp 7, 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, 2. And then E to D, A with a C sharp bass to E, B with a D sharp bass. That's those thirds in the bass thing again. Back to the A with the C sharp, E, back to B. And then we're ready for the outro. So once again, that was like, sometime when the night is dying is the lyrics. So 2, 3, and sometime when the night is dying, I take me out and I wander around. Right, get back to a B. So B, E, B, and then B, F sharp 7, E, D, A with a C sharp, E, B with a D sharp, A with a C sharp, E to B. Okay, then we get into this thing. We're going to slide the 3s into 4s because we've modulated up to B from A. So we get. And we're going to fade out on that thing. So we got the slide into the Bs. That's that same kind of Rolling Stones kind of chord there, that 4 to 1. This is the 1, this is the 4. So it's 6, 4, and 5 with these 4s. So we got. Kind of do that ding, da ding, and then F sharp to E. So that's your 2nd fret bar chord, F sharp to that open E. So we got. All right, this is going to be Casey Jones by the Grateful Dead. We're going to start out with this riff here. Okay, so we have a hammer from 8 to 10 on the 2nd string as we're playing 2 of these 8s down here in the bottom 2. So you want that hammer to be really tall so you can still hear the 8 underneath ringing as you hit that hammer on. Back to the 8s. Take your 7th fret of the 3rd string, bend it up and down, pull it off. And then 7 on the D. To the 8 on the A. Then we have a little hammer on the D, 5 to 7. And then 5, 5 on the G. So we got. Okay, and the other guitar part is doing something with the same type of rhythm, but it kind of different notes and stuff. So these guys were really good at weaving their parts in and out of the other person's parts and making them both have their cool spaces and make the most of what they could do with 2 guitars, you know. Okay, now we're gonna have part of a C chord. You can kind of hammer into this. You could have like 10, 8, 8. You're hammering into that 9 right away, or you could just kind of hit the chord with the 10, 9, and 8. So we got. This is like an F power chord, 8, 10, 10. Then we're gonna go. So this is 8 and 10 on the D and G strings, sliding down to that 7. And then the second time you'll go to that F bass note, so it's. Then we're gonna go 8 to 9 on the G into that 8s down there on the bottom. Also part of the C chord. So once again, from this verse bit, we got. And again, you can slide that one down sometimes. And then then we have our beginning riff again. We got. Okay, now this will be the next verse. We're gonna have. So that kind of goes into a D chord there, from C into a D. So what we have is sliding into the 9 on the A string to the 7th fret G, and then to the D 9th fret, back to that, and then kind of go to that 9th fret on the D. So it's like. So then we get into an F chord, these 10s. We're gonna go into the 12 on the A string. So quick from the 12 into those middle 10s. And then bum, bum, bum. And then we're gonna to the G chord here. We got. So that's like your honky tonk thing. We got 10 and 12. To that 14 on the D string. Okay, then we're back to C. D chord. And then we have. Okay, so we're gonna slide into the 7 on the D string, and then hit the 6 on the 5th string, and then 7, 5 on the G to 7 on the D. And then we have 5, 7, 4 to 6. And then 5, 7, 5, 4. Okay, so that was. Okay, we're back to another verse. C to F. Now we have a riff. Okay, so that was C to the F. And then this riff. So we're sliding into the 5 on the big one. 3, 5, 3. Go 7 to 5 here. Bend up and down on that 7 on the G. And then back into that C riff. Then we're gonna have the second part of that verse. Then we have our intro riff. Okay, and then there's tons of variations of all this stuff. So this is kind of the basic things to get you going. I think like each verse has like different fills, like completely different than every other verse. So it makes it real interesting. So this one we're gonna go half step up to the C sharp to the D. So we're gonna go. We'll do that little riff, 10 to 11 to the 10s. So we got C, little 12 to 10, kind of a little riff after the F. And then we got the little honky tonk G again. And we got. So here we have 9, 7, 9, 7 for that kind of D chord, and then we have that riff again. We have a verse again. I guess really that's chorus. Intro. Okay, now we're to the solo. We're to Bob Weir's solo. So we're gonna have a C chord. So we went up to the 7th fret of the A, 5, 7, 5, and then we went up to the 9 of the A. That's 7 on the D and 6 on the B. Do that twice, and then we have this chord 5 and 8, 5 on the G, 8 on the B. Go to the 7, 8, and then have a couple more 7, 8s, hammer into the 9 on the G. That type of thing. And then we got the C again. And then you have that riff again. So this time it ends with 5, 7, 5, 4, 8. One more time on Bob Weir's solo. Okay, now we're on Jerry Garcia solo. that's the first half of it. We got 13, 15, 15. And it's kind of like a half step bend and then a whole step bend. And then 13, 12, 11. Bend the 12 on the G. And then we got. So once again, we got. So we got up and down on the 12 to the 10, 12 up to 13 on the second, and then you got the 10, 9 at the end, and we start again, second half. And then 13 down here. So you just watch for the certain notes going up and down. So that one's like a 12 bend, 13, and then a little half step coming down bend on this D string 12. So one more time on Jerry Garcia solo here, we got. And then we're back to the intro. Okay, then we have a verse with C to D, F, and then got the G. So you can do a variety of different fills to accommodate that D chord there, right? So then here we're gonna go 12 into 10s, and then 9s on those middle strings, and then that little riff again, 5, 7, 5, 4, 8. So once again, this is the chorus here. We got. Now we're going to start getting into a thing where we go. So we have C, dun da da dun, dun da da dun, and then B flat, straight to the F, F, F to the C. So you'll see in the tab, it's like a measure of C, and then B flat and F share a measure. Then there's a whole measure of F, and then an F and C split a measure. So it's B flat to F, F, F to C. And at the very end, you're going to go A7, get the 2s with that 3 on the bottom, to a D, G7, C. So the last 4 chords, you got A7, D, that's that, and you know that notion just crossed my mind, right? G7 to C. All right, this is going to be a lesson on Shakedown Street by the Grateful Dead. We're going to start out with the D minor chord. Now, this is going to be like my version. I've been playing this for many, many years, so I have kind of my own little things that I've thrown in here to make it a little different, the way that I like to do it. So I'm going to show you my way. One of the things I do is when I get that riff going, I try to make it where I've kind of combined both parts, the Jerry part and the Bob Weir part. So we'll talk about some things like that. There's a couple chord changes I do slightly different, things like that. So we're going to have a D minor, kind of get that vamp going. It's really on the bass and drums kind of carry this section, you know. So what I do is we do that like 4 times in my band, kind of like let the vibe get going a little bit. And then we'll come in this main riff. We got. Okay, so that's 8, 7, and 5 on the A string. Back to your D minor chord. Second time is. And I'll hit those little 13s down here. So we got. Okay, so we have a 5, 8, 7, and an 8, 7, 5 right there. So that's like a D minor arpeggio or triad, and an F major triad. And then you got a G chord, starts the verse, F. Now it's most likely C7 right there. I do a B flat right there because I like to hear that B flat note really come out. I feel like too many people just play a C there and they don't really capture that B flat. So I kind of went overboard and I just play a B flat right there. We'll talk about that later in the solo section, how I handle that one as well. So we got a G for the verse, we got F, B flat, we're back into the riff. Same chords. So D to E right there, 5 to 7. You got an F major 7 chord. Sometimes I'll do it, with the thumb bass there, mute the A, have the 3, 2, 1 open. Sometimes I'll mute the E and have the 3, 3, 2, 1 open. So you have F major 7 to E minor. You also might do that F major 7 up here. Starting on the 8 on the 5th string, 8, 7, 5, 5, 5. You got your E minor over here, 7, 9, 9, 8, 7. And then eventually it's going to go chromatic to the D minor 7. And you have a G7 here. You might throw that pinky in on the 2nd string, 6th fret, if you don't do that in your 7 chords. Now, when it finishes that part, it gets into some type of a C vamp. I like to do the C7-9 kind of funk chord. That's where I kind of blend my James Brown experience thing in with some other tunes and make them a little bit more funky. Especially when you only have like a 3-piece or maybe 4 pieces. You don't have as big of a band and you don't have all those different elements to make it sound bigger. So you do little tricks like that, making it more funky with a chord like that. All right, so let's look at those verse chords again. We got... F major 7, E minor twice. Down to D minor. G7. Like I say, I do that C7-9. We have an octave walk-up chromatic. So C to C sharp, back into the riff. Okay, so the next verse is just the same as that one was. Then we have the... So when you walk that one back up into that D minor vamp, you can start your solo right there. So I'll be like, I'll start soloing within this like D minor pentatonic scale. I'll use the D Dorian mode. So think about that. It's like 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 6, 8, 5, 7, 8. And then if you want to use other notes, you could use these notes down here. That's really the position 5 of like our major scales, but this is the root note, and this is a minor context in this one here. So you got your, it's good to know your D minor 7 arpeggio there too. So we're gonna hang out on that chord for a while. You get to solo in that kind of open D minor type feel, D minor Dorian type feel. And then it's going to walk you into those verse chords again. So what I do is I'll find like the G7 arpeggio up here. 10, 9, 12, 10, 12, 12. I really look at that 12, that's that major third. So I'll go like, and then we go to the F chord. So this is the F major pentatonic scale, same as the D minor. So just doing some notes in your D minor thing here will work. I'll start out with this major third of G. Now remember where I threw in that B flat chord? Here's a B flat note. So I'll do some G stuff, F major / D minor pentatonic. Throw in that B flat there just to play off that chord, and then we're back into D minor. So it'll be like. So you have a lot of time to burn on just that D minor again. Now here's another G. So this time I started on the root note G. Did a little chromatic thing into that major third. And you got that same type of stuff. Okay, then we're gonna get into the F major 7. So what I'll do is I'll go. Back to your E minor. And if you look at that whole arpeggio, that F major 7, there's a lot of cool notes. You can also get up to this A here. And then you got to shift into your like E minor pentatonic flat 5th kind of thing. Then you go down to D minor. And then you're back into G7. So I had like a. And then you're in C7. So I like to take that, like the arpeggio of the C7. Kind of combine it with some blues riffs and stuff. You could also just go straight minor pentatonic. But remember, I kind of have that funky feel, and that has that major third in it, so that helps me, like, that dominant 7 type of thing helps me play off that happy note. So you can really control how much light and darkness you have within that thing, you know. Being a 7 chord can go either way, you know. Okay, so you got your C7 stuff. Eventually, after all the solo changes have all happened, you go through all those changes, just like the verses and choruses and stuff. You have your F major 7, your E minor, down to D minor, G7, you got your C vamp. And when that C vamp is done, you're gonna walk back up. You got your riffs. And eventually, into that last verse. And like I say here, I do that B flat. You might want to do like a C or a C7 chord there, you know. So I just kind of like how that one rings out. And when you do a cover song in your own band, you can kind of, you know, you can make some changes, do things on your own, make it your version. Okay, so it's got some great, tasty Jerry Garcia stuff in here. First thing we have is a double pull-off. This is a real classic Jerry riff where you got your You're like kind of in a Dorian kind of mode going here. 17 to 16 to 14, double pull off on the E string. To that little minor third there. To your root note, 16, so 15 to 16. So, and now we're gonna bend this 17th fret up a half step. Sounds like the 18th. And we're gonna bring it down to that 16th fret. And then we're gonna hit the 17 and 16 again. And then we're gonna have a whole step bend on that up to the 19th fret. So we got. So this one's gonna go a whole step from the 19, sounding like the 19, down the 17 though. Pull off to 15. Double pull off, little chromatic there, 16, 15, 14. Hit the 14 again, so all together we got. And then we're gonna have, so that's gonna be second string, 15. Hit it again, go to 16, and then 16 on the G string. And then we start this. This is the last eighth note of the previous measure here. So we have 14 on the D, and then 15, 16, 14, 15, 16 on the G, 15 on the B. So we have a little 16, 14 on the G, pull off to the 16 on the D. So let's go back to the top. We got 1. And then we're gonna have, so that's 16 on the G, 16 on the D. Kind of hold that 16 and then do double pull off on the chromatic. Back to the 16, and then that measure ends with 14, 16. So this new measure was. Now we're gonna have 14 and then 14 to 13 to 15 on the D, 13 to 13, 12 to 14. So from this lead in, 14 to 16. Okay, so that's a little tricky. Once again, we got 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 12 on the G, 12, 13 on the D, 12 on the B. So we got 1. And then we're going to slide into the 11 and 12 on the G and B. Like 1 and 2. Now here we have a, we're going to reach this 14 over here in the G. We still have this 12 on the B string. We're going to do a double pull off while we're holding the 12 there. So over on the G string is our double pull off while we're holding that B note down there. So it's a double pull off. It's 14 and 12 to the 13 and 11. And then we have 15 on the D to 11. And then 15, 14, 12 on the D. 14 to 16 up into that 15 on the second string. So through everything again, we got. Okay, so from this we got, and you're trying to get that so tall that you can hear that 12. You're also trying to hear both pull-offs. 15, 11, 15, 14, 12. And we're going to go into that 16 on the G after that, 15 on the B. So now that was a 14, 16 on the G, 17 on the B, half step bend on the 15. And then we have this riff, 16, 14 on the G, and then 16 on the B to 16 on the G, 17 on the B, 16, 18 to 16. We end on the 14 right there on the little E string. And then we have a, so that's going to be a 15 to 16 on the B, quick one, 14, 17, 16, 14, back to that little half step, and then 16, So that was a 16 on the G, 16 on the D, and then 15 on the B to 16 on the G. And then we're getting into the last phrase. So let's go on back. We got 1. Last phrase is, we have a triplet at the end of this measure. So we have 14, 15, 16 on the D, and then we're going to go down a string to the G, do the same thing, and then we're going to do a double pull off. And then these are triplets, so it's 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... So 16, 16, 16, another one there in the D string. And then we end with 17 on the A to the 14 and 16. Quick half step, 17 to 18. 14th fret, slide down, and we have the... So that's 4s on the G and B into the 6 and 5, same strings. And the first one sounds like a hammer-on. Okay, so one more time through, we got a 1. All right, one of my very favorites of all time, Jerry Garcia. That's a tasty solo. So many of his interesting techniques in that. You've got pre-bent half steps coming in. You've got chromatic riffs everywhere. You've got pull-offs and chromatic riffs. You're doing the half step into like a major third a lot of times. And look at this. This riff just boggles me. So he's able to get a chord going, but do a double pull-off on the higher string of that. That's just amazing stuff. And then I love this one, this... The way he has a lower note to bounce off of, but still goes up chromatic and ends up on a note that's part of the B chord right there. So if you want to take a look at the progression, it's like it starts out, it's like B, and then it gets into a thing where it's like B7. So it'd be like if you did a B minor 7 with 7 on the E, D, and B strings. Let those notes ride chromatic down. So those are 6s. 5s, back to a B chord. So that's that cool little chromatic thing going on there.